Welcome to the MGH Surgeons Lifestyle Medicine Program, Paving the Path to Wellness. We are on week 4, and we're going to talk about investigations today. As usual, I will share some slides with you for some fun here. Great. All right. So when we talk about investigations in wellness and paving the path to wellness in particular, we're really looking at ourselves as the experimenter and ourselves as the subject. What do I mean by this? I will go over it in full detail today with you, and we will also look at some of the investigations that put lifestyle medicine on the map, some of the investigations that inform us as to what the 5 healthy habits are that we're striving to achieve and to sustain in order to reach our optimal level of wellness. We're going to quickly review our 12 steps, which you may know by heart by now: physical activity, attitude, variety, investigations, nutrition, goals, then stress resiliency, timeouts, energy, purpose, sleep, and social connection. Here we are, focusing in on experimenting, using a growth mindset to learn about yourself, to improve, to find your comfort zone, and go a little bit beyond that comfort zone, because that's where we really get progress, and that's where we get growth. It's all about experiments and forming hypotheses, which we're used to doing in our work, in our grant writing, in our own research. But now I'm inviting you to do this for yourself and test your hypothesis, collect results, actually monitor and record results, because as Peter Drucker has mentioned, what we monitor, what we measure, gets managed. So we're really only going to pay attention to something if we're monitoring and measuring it. Then we're going to prioritize it. It's on our radar screen. And some of the experiments we do on ourselves will prove a failure. They'll show us that we don't like exercising early in the morning, getting up an extra hour early to exercise, perhaps. Or we don't like quinoa and kale. We tried it, we just don't like it. We'll try something else. That's okay. We create new studies after figuring out what worked or didn't work in our own studies. And of course, we'll have limitations to what we can do. Let's look at what put lifestyle medicine on the map. I talked about this in our welcome workshops, introductory workshops a few weeks ago. Leading causes of death, very common. We know this: heart disease, cancer, and stroke. But the actual behaviors that develop and help these diseases manifest are in fact the actual causes of death, because these are the causes of the disease, are our behaviors and lifestyles: smoking, poor diet, physical inactivity, alcohol consumption. We're going to work on these throughout our time together and make sure that we're hitting the guidelines in these areas. One of the studies that looked at these different behaviors, specifically adding a healthy behavior and looking at the results in terms of a myocardial infarction, MI. The Journal of American College of Cardiology about 4 years ago published a Swedish study, looked at 20,000 men. It's a prospective study looking at 5 low-risk behaviors, or what we call healthy behaviors. They included a healthy diet, which was what we spoke about during the workshop: a lot of vegetables and reducing processed foods, moderate alcohol intake following the American Heart Association guidelines: 1 drink a night for a woman, 2 drinks for a man. no smoking at all, and then physical activity. In this study, in this Swedish study, it involved walking or bicycling 40 minutes a day, plus exercising a total of 1 hour a week. That would be 10 minutes a day or a half hour, 2 different days. So that was their definition for the study of exercising. And then no abdominal adiposity, so a waist circumference of 95 centimeters, which is approximately 37.4 inches. And what we view as a healthy waist circumference is 35 inches for a woman and 40 inches for a man. In this study, it was found that those men that had 0 healthy habits, which I just outlined, over the course of the 13 years, they had 0 and they did not add any healthy behaviors over 13 years. They had the highest relative risk for a heart attack and MI. Now, if just 1 healthy behavior was added over the 13 years of the study, the relative risk reduced. So they were less likely to have a heart attack. Add 2, add 3, add 4, and then look at adding 5. If people were consistently adhering to those 5 healthy habits, their relative risk for a myocardial infarction was significantly reduced. So that's what we're striving for. Another landmark study that we didn't go over, but it's an investigation or very important study in the area of lifestyle medicine from the Diabetes Prevention Program. It was published many years ago in the New England Journal of Medicine in 2002. I hope that you've heard about it, where type 2 diabetes, the precursor, prediabetes, was looked at in patients. So they had blood glucose levels that were higher than normal. Then there were different interventions, 3 different interventions: placebo, metformin, and lifestyle modification. It wasn't a huge study, just 3,234 non-diabetic patients with elevated fasting and post-load plasma glucose levels heading towards diabetes, prediabetes. And there was randomization for assignment into these 3 different groups: placebo, metformin, or lifestyle intervention. So what was the lifestyle intervention, you may be wondering? Well, they were asked to lose 7% of their initial body weight. They were overweight. They followed a low-calorie, low-fat diet at that time in 2002. They were encouraged to achieve 150 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity per week, which are our current guidelines. They also underwent 16 lessons, a curriculum that covered diet, exercise, and behavior modification. We're actually doing a 12-week curriculum here together with Paving the Path to Wellness. Their curriculum was taught by case managers. It was fairly flexible, it was individualized, and they did have subsequent individual and group sessions that were held monthly. The results showed that compared to placebo, those that were in the lifestyle intervention program, their conversion from this pre-diabetic situation with a high fasting glucose, their conversion to actual diabetes dropped 58%. It's 58% less than the placebo group versus the metformin group, and that was only 31% less than the placebo group. So in fact, the lifestyle intervention was better able to prevent full-on diabetes in this 4-year study. Very impressive, and really put lifestyle changes on the map. So we are trying to consume more vegetables, as you know, from the first introductory workshop we shared together, and we'll dive deeper into this, in fact, next week when we do nutrition together. But it's about consuming more plants, more fruits and vegetables, specifically vegetables. There are many phytonutrients in the dark-colored vegetables. The green, leafy vegetables are full of phytonutrients that fight disease. Let food be thy medicine, medicine be thy food, Hippocrates, right? Well, if you look at the United States, we are not consuming more than 2 servings of vegetables in any state, actually. The states where we're consuming about 1.8 servings of vegetables a day are those that are in dark green: New Hampshire, Oregon, and California. Then the slightly lighter green, 1.7 servings of vegetables. A little bit lighter green, 1.6. The light olive green, 1.5 servings. And then the yellowish, the states that have a yellowish color, they're consuming less than 1.5 servings a day. We really are striving for 5. But if we can get to 3, that would be great. So think about where you are right now. Also think about your state of origin and your friends and your family that live in different states in the US, and maybe even your patients, where they came from, where they grew up, what's the culture there. And think about how you may do an experiment this week so that you can increase your servings of vegetables. How about adequate physical activity levels? So men are in the light pink and women are in the purple. And we have on the x-axis, we have different age ranges. And then the y-axis shows percent of adults. So let's look at where the majority of us are. 18 to 24. Now, 25 to 44, yes, there were many people in the room that looked that age. 17% of women and 24% of men are meeting the guidelines. And for these guidelines, we mean exercising 150 minutes or 2.5 hours of moderate intensity physical activity in the week, plus 2 days of strength training on non-consecutive days. Then the little bit older range, 45 to 64, general nationally, women that are achieving the guidelines, 14.8%. Men achieving these guidelines, 17.5%. So there's a reduction from the 25 to 44 years to 45 to 64 years. But we'd like to change that. We'd actually like to increase the percentage, especially of MGH surgeons, who are achieving the physical activity guidelines. How would you do that this week, let's see? Critical, because we're dying of cardiovascular disease. We know that's our #1 killer. What percent of cardiovascular disease can be prevented or delayed with dietary choices and lifestyle modification? What percent? We've known this for many years, that about 70%, some people even say 80% of cardiovascular disease can be prevented or delayed with lifestyle modification. What are we striving for? What are these 5 healthy habits that research tells us time and time again will help us live longer and avoid a myocardial infarction? No smoking, a body mass index of less than 25, so in the healthy range, eating greater than 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, 2 fruits, 3 vegetables we're striving for. Alcohol, around 1 drink a day. American Heart Association says 1 drink for women, 2 for men. I repeat that. They also say if you don't currently drink, don't start. CDC and American Heart Association have those recommendations. Physical activity, you know this well, 150 minutes a week. And what we're going to ask you to do this week is to consider these 4 different videos, which are also attached to this email. I have a video on box breathing, the count of 4, for you to try as a stress reliever. I also have a video, 5 minutes of exercise, basically walking, running in place. But I'm your exercise buddy. Sometimes we need somebody else to get us going and to keep us going and act as a timer, maybe also as slight amusement. So this is meant to be done at any time, anywhere, in any attire. I did it in my Sunday attire, which I'm currently wearing now, in my sweater, black dress, and black boots. If I can do it in this attire, you can do it in anything. Scrubs, fancy shoes, high heels, whatever it is that you're wearing today or any day, you can do this 5-minute exercise. You can work up a sweat, or you can just get the 5 minutes in, and that will reduce your level of anxiety, hopefully. Research shows it can. Or you can continue to do the 5 minutes. You can do them over and over, accumulate 15 minutes if you like. Then I'd like to introduce you to the Hindu squat, which Dr. John Rady introduced to me. And that will give you a little bit of strength training with the squats and provide a little variety for you in your exercise activities. Lastly, there's a video on push-ups. Now, I'm the first to admit, this is not one of my strengths, physical strengths, but I gave it a go. There are a lot of cardiologists around the country, actually, and globally, that have a drop and give me 20 challenge. I'm actually part of that. I think because of lifestyle medicine, I got involved in this via Twitter. Our department of physical medicine rehabilitation with Dr. Julie Silver has encouraged us to get onto Twitter to spread our messages. And for me, it's to spread a message of lifestyle medicine and wellness. And somehow I got involved with this cardio Twitter group. And they have been doing 20 push-ups for over 100 days. So we can have the same challenge, 20 push-ups for 100 days. Now, you can watch me do 20 push-ups and you can feel good about yourself because I'm not very good at doing them, but I have a growth mindset. If you've watched the attitude video, you know what I mean. It's fine. It's not a strength of mine, but I gave it a go. I'll get better. If we do this together and we all try and do push-ups every day for 100 days, we certainly will be stronger. And we will be meeting the guidelines to some extent because we are doing strength training at least twice a week. Now it's on non-consecutive days, but that is, of course, for a full session of strength training, which hopefully you will investigate in the next couple of weeks. And you will try either going to a gym, getting a session with a trainer, or working out with a buddy, or if you already know how to work out in your home gym, which might have clothes and clutter on it right now, but you could take that off and start working on it so you can meet these guidelines. And we'll see how it goes. So you have some choices this week as to what you'd like to experiment with. And let me know what you think. Please email me, respond to the email where I send these messages out. Let me know what you choose to do this week and how it goes. Okay? Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week.